Yo, what's up guys? Old School Dan here, back again with another video. In this video, we'll be discussing phase 3 of rebuilding the Silva era physique. This is a muscular endurance phase on the higher rep range between 15 and 20. Sort of a bodybuilding phase, we call it, just because, again, when you think about bodybuilders, their rep range, it usually tends to be in the higher 15 to 20 reps. So I think you guys are going to really enjoy this one. It's going to give you a nice solid pump. Especially, this is really, really good if you're cutting. And if you're cutting, this is going to give you that really nice chisel look that you're looking for if you want to get really defined, especially for the summer shredding. Highly recommend you take on this routine. It's going to give you the results you're looking for. All right, so mobility and abs are always first. In this one, warm-up begins with weight plated crunch for those upper abs, 3 sets of 15. Now, remember, the more you train your core, now if you're cutting right now, you want to make sure you're training your core as often as you can, especially with resistance, because the more you develop them, the more they're going to show at a higher percent body fat. Some people think they got to get to 10% body fat to see their abs pop out. I've seen people that have like 15, 20% body fat on them, and they still have abs. So that's the thing. The more muscle mass and development you have, the more definition, the more toneness, the more your muscles will show at a higher percent body fat. All right? So weight plated crunch, 3 sets of 15. Then you go into your primers to warm up your glutes, your hamstrings, your quads, the ankle mobility, the hip mobility, all that stuff. Bulgarian split squats. Added a few more reps to kind of give you guys a little bit more of that lubrication. 1 set of 12 for Bulgarian split squats. Glute bridges for those glutes, 1 set of 20. Fire hydrants for those hips, 1 set of 20. And for those upper glutes, 1 set of 20 for those those kickbacks. All right. So make sure those are always done first. Don't skip those. I have some clients that be like, oh, I'm feeling some pain. And I'm like, are you doing your warm-up? And people are like, sometimes, not really. And I'm like, that's exactly why you're getting injured, because you need to have some type of warm-up. And I'm talking about stretching. Stretching is going to get you injured. You want something that's mobility, that primes, that gets the blood moving in your body. All right, so with that being said, let's move on to the actual workout. All right, so first off, we got our day 1. In this one, you don't really have to do any warm-up sets, just because, these 15 to 20 reps, they're going to be light. It's not heavy stuff. So I actually don't have any clients do any warm-up sets with this phase just because it's so light. But if you need be, you feel like you need that kind of training initially, then go ahead. But I don't do it. I don't have clients do it. And we're going to start off with a barbell squat, 2 sets of 15. Now, again, pick a weight that feels like a 6 out of 10 for week 1, because each phase is 4 weeks long. And you're going to be progressively overloading every single week, adding 2.5 pounds to 5 pounds. Personally, in this phase, I pick a weight that feels like a solid 6, maybe 6.5 on week 1, and then add 2.5 on each side for like barbell squats. So if I start with like 65 pounds total, just 10 pounds on each side, I add 2.5. So 65, 70, 75, 80, finishing off at 80 for 15 reps. And actually, you should be only getting between 30 seconds to a minute between sets for rest, because you are trying to train your endurance, and we do that by not taking long rest times. We do that by kind of, going through lots of reps, going a long distance while not resting for long at all. All right. So typically I'll do 30 seconds. If I can't, max about a minute. Towards the end of the phase, I'll probably start resting around a minute, have clients rest around a minute, just because the beginning 30 seconds can be good. And again, that burning sensation you'll start feeling after your like 10th rep or like 8th rep, that's normal. You want to keep pushing that. That is you're trying to push past your current lactic threshold, meaning where it starts to burn, where your body starts to lose oxygen, and starts to feel that lactic acid building up in your body. And that's why you get that burning sensation. But you got to push past that, and that way you can increase the amount of volume you can handle. So when you go back to a strength phase or a muscle building phase, you can handle more volume without feeling that burning early on, without feeling that fatigue so early on in the set, because you already developed that endurance with this phase, if that makes sense. Okay. So again, brace that core, point those nipples to the ground, especially if you have terrible ankle mobility, and drive the knees out and get in that full, nice, deep squat. I always like to squat really, really deep, just because it gets more of my, I can get more muscle fibers, and it's actually better for my mobility. Leg press calf raises, there's a slight bend in the knee, getting those toes to touch the shins. That way you're stretching that calves. We call that dorsiflexion. And then you want to drive that big toe and drive the ankles out. All right. That's how you're going to get that driving the ankles out is going to give you that a little bit more of that contraction at the top, which gives you a greater range of motion. It's going to allow you to work through more muscle fibers. Moving on to incline dumbbell press. Remember, we don't want to skip our upper body warm up. That includes, like, if you've been following all the phases so far, you kind of already know what to expect. We have a prone cobra. We have a push-ups. So you don't want to skip those for chest. You still want to do those. Just because it's light doesn't mean we can skip that. You can do some pull-aparts. You can do shoulder dislocations with a pull, with a band, and get all the chest, triceps, shoulders, and the scapula warmed up. So when you get into your incline dumbbell press, you can go work through 2 sets of 15. Again, you want to have a nice big arc, getting the shoulders back down and under. The better the arc, the more range of motion you can push through, and the less you're going to impinge your shoulders or cause some type of inter-rotation. Elbows at 45. This is how you get the deepest range of motion. It's also the safest for your shoulders. None of that elbows flared type of bullshit. That's all, in the past. I know Vince Gironda was huge on the neck press with the elbows being flared. Guys, all that stuff's going to get you injured later down the road. You don't want to be working with any of that stuff. Trust me. Been there, done that. Highly recommend you start adopting these new methods according to the science. For the biomechanics, physiology of your body, just makes more sense, and it's a lot safer. Moving on to reverse grip lat pull down, 3 sets of 15. Go in with an underhand grip. Pull that shin back, push that scapula up, pushing the shoulders up and forward, and then driving those elbows straight down, bring it right to the collarbone, arcing that back at the bottom. That's what's going to give you the biggest stretch in your scapula or your back, and give you the biggest flex in your scapula, aka the back. Moving on to the last and final exercises. Now, finishing with some arms. We have an Arnold press. This one everybody does always wrong. They think it's a rotate and then a press. It's a rotation and a press. It's a difference between, rotating and pressing. What I mean is that some people, they come out to the side, stop, and then press, and then come down, stop, and then come back in. That's not the way you do it. Arnold taught it the way it should be one continuous motion. And if you look at the way Larry Scott used to do a Scott press, his was a very fluid movement. It was a rotation and press and rotation and press and rotation and press. It wasn't a stop at the side and then press. Arnold, super smart guy with training, probably far ahead of his time, if anything, as well. He knew constant tension, and this is what he kind of did. And like I said in the past, I think that Arnold stole the Arnold press from Vince Gironda. Vince Gironda created the Scott press for Larry Scott, and Arnold kind of took that idea and knocked it off and called it the Arnold press. 2 different things, though. They look completely different. All right. 3 sets of 15. When you come down, you want to keep that elbow in line with the wrist. Biomechanically, it just makes more sense. It feels more natural for your body, to keep those elbows in front. That's how I teach all my presses, whether it's an overhead press, standing dumbbell press. Elbows are always finishing in front. You can get the maximum usage of your triceps along with your shoulders. Allows you to press more weight, and it's safer. Moving on to a barbell curl. With these, I do it with a slight hinge. I keep my elbows in front as if I'm mimicking a arm blaster curl, and I start curling, right? You'll find that this way, when you do the curls this way, you'll get maximum development for your biceps. I've been doing this and showing this to my clients, and I found a lot of success doing this. And I'm going to superset it, or you're going to superset it, with a barbell skull crusher. You want to start with the elbows semi-back, bringing that bar right to the hairline, and then driving straight back up. Again, you don't want to move the lats forward. Your lats shouldn't be shifting back. So that's why you keep the elbows back and let the wrist come straight all the way down to your hairline and then come right back up. All right. As I'm explaining this, I'm kind of pretending I'm doing it as in the moment. So if you hear my voice kind of fading back, it's because I'm pretending to do the exercise. Appreciate you guys supporting. With that being said, give this video a like, subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching. I'm Oldschool Dan. I'm gone. Peace.